she's not hanging out with the Doctor. She's off gallivanting with Captain Jack. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So I'm hoping that River comes back too. After all, one night on Twilliam is 24 years, so we got a long time to play. Oh, I thought that was the question. I've never actually been on set with John. We would cross paths at conventions, and we cross paths on around the trailers and stuff. But we've never been in an episode together or had scenes together. We share the same birthday. In a weird sort of way, we have kind of history because we knew each other socially. Because we had shared friends, and so I've known him for a long time, but we've actually never worked together, so it'd be really fun to. And yes, wouldn't it be fun to be on Arrow together as well? Yeah, it would be. Thank you. Did I answer your question? Great. We're going to go to your left. Oh, to my left. Okay. Hello. Hello, sweetie. Hello, sweetie. Two-part question. Okay. How did you get into roles? How did you get between those three roles on ER and Doctor Who and Arrow? How was the transition? You mean how was the transition for me in terms of an actress and the performances? Well, I think as an actor, I think the most important thing is that one learns, or one just has, versatility. And there are some actors who kind of don't, actually. There are some actors who, if you watch them, you see that ultimately they play the same thing over and over again. They never kind of leave themselves behind and enter into the personality of another character. And that can be very successful for some actors. I mean, there are some movie stars who, even though they're wearing different costumes, they always give kind of the same performance. But it sort of works for them, and it seems to also be what those fans want. And there is another type of actor who actually wants to change. And I would say that you class those more as character actors. And I feel that I'm a character actor. My background's been theatre. I love disappearing into the personalities of the different characters that I play. And certainly, I mean, aside from my hair, I hope that at least the characters are different. Because that's what I would like to happen. There was enough of a gap when I finished ER. There was enough of a gap from leaving Dr. Corday behind and working then with the character of River Song. And certainly I didn't sort of bring Dr. Corday into River at all. And similarly with Dinah Lance on Arrow, she's very different. Straight hair for a start. But that's just the acting process, and it's sort of it's a fabulous challenge to have the opportunity to create a new character each time. That's what I love. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And another part of the okay. That's the second part. You have the
And throughout that transition, does it come easily to you to transition from one person to another, or how's that?
Yeah, it is relatively easy. I mean, I'll only accept part if I feel connected to that part. If I sort of read a script and I just think, I don't know who this character is, I don't have that immediate instinctive connection, I tend then not to do it, because I feel like there's somebody else out there who will be better at it than me, because they will have that connection. Sometimes I have taken on roles that I didn't feel massively comfortable with, and I actually don't think I did a very good job. So yeah, I sort of try to stay true to what I really think I can do. So the transitions for the characters that I played, that you've seen, have been easy and a lot of fun. Yeah.
Why, thank you.
And thank you. So my team, I'm asking the question.
First off, I loved your episode of Blue Bloods that you were on. I love the chemistry you have with Tom, and hope you're back for another episode next season.
It's left kind of. Well, you know what they got up to, don't you, when you took out after the restaurant?
But my question is, kiss, marry, kill. Tom, Paul Blackthorne, or Peter Capaldi?
Oh, kiss, marry, kill.
Yeah, three big actors you've worked with past.
Tom, Peter Capaldi, and
Paul.
Paul. Oh, God. Okay.
Switch it to punch instead of kill.
Can it be, yeah, well, yeah. Just ignore. Kiss, marry, ignore. Right, well, then I can answer that one. I think I would... Well, I've got to marry Peter Capaldi. I got to kind of stay true and loyal to my husband. So I would marry Peter Capaldi. Okay. Paul Blackthorne, aside from being my husband on Arrow, he was my boyfriend on ER. In the final season that I was in, he was one of my boyfriends. So we go back, we have history there. And in fact, I think I kissed him on ER. And he also is doing an amazing charitable thing when he's not working on Arrow. He's out, I think he's still out in Vietnam right now for Save the Rhinos. And I did a little video blog with him. And he really is so dedicated and so hardworking, and I think it's such an important cause. So I would kiss Paul Blackthorne. So it means that, sorry Tom, I know it probably means I'll never do another episode of Blue Bloods, but I would ignore Tom Selleck.
Alright, after T, I think we're on our left again.
Hi, Miss Kingston.
Hello, sweetie.
First a comment. I love the benefits between Amy and Han when you guys like shooting the feds for that was awesome. But my question is more of your camera which transform Quicksilver and Wesley Box. How do you approach to do that with
Okay, yeah, I am an animated character, Quicksilver on yes, Transformer Rescue Bots. I mean, it's so crazy. It's been controversial. Can you believe that? I have yet again. I've courted controversy because apparently, and you know, this show that I thought was watched by, maybe 8 or 9-year-olds, but no, obviously not. Because a lot of the men out there were very angry that there was a female Transformer bot. I mean, excuse me. They didn't like that a woman, there was a, badass woman car. Bot thing. So, boys, get over it. The really crazy thing is that the man who drew my character, Quicksilver, has now become part of my family because I've married his cousin, which I didn't even realise. And he came to our wedding and introduced himself to me and said, "I draw Quicksilver." So that was very strange. But I love her. She looks cool, and she doesn't have curly hair. She's got kind of like geometric cut, which is what I always wanted as a kid. So I'm very happy. Thank you.
Hi, first I'd like to say River Song's my favorite companion.
She's not a companion. She's a wife.
She's my favorite character.
Thank you. Do you hear that, Matt Smith and David Tennant? I'm a favourite character.
My question is, if River did meet Jack, what do you think would happen?
Well, if River met Jack, it would have to be called Dr. Blue for a start. And I think we need to leave it there.
Hello. I just want to say thank you for coming to Queens Comic Con.
Thank you for inviting me.
My question is, who was your favorite doctor to work with?
This is blooming Kiss, Marry, Ignore again, isn't it? Who was my favourite doctor to work with? Well, I've loved working with them all. I mean, of course I'm going to say that. But the truth is, I think if you asked any of the actors who've worked with a number of the doctors, they would all probably say the same thing. Obviously, each actor that plays the Doctor brings a different personality to the Doctor, and they are, because they're all unique in themselves. David I only worked with on 2 episodes. He's fabulous. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's always word perfect, really hard worker. Peter, so far I've only worked on 1 episode, but that was a massive episode to shoot because it was a Christmas special. Peter is phenomenal as well. I mean, the truth is, in terms of just comfort and getting to know someone, I would say it's Matt, just because we've worked together much more than I have with any of the other actors. And I call the time when I worked with Matt and Arthur and Karen, I call those Doctor Who the rock and roll years. Because, I mean, Matt was like Mick Jagger, and I'd say Arthur was Bill, what's his surname? Bill, is it Bill Wyman? No. Who's the one? Who's the one? Captain Jack Sparrow. Keith Richards. Arthur was Keith Richards. And Yeah, well, actually, maybe Karen was Keith Richards, actually. But they were pretty hardcore in terms of hard work and hard party. But it was a lot of fun. So, yes, all of them. Yes, thanks. English breakfast.
Hello, sweetie.
Hello, sweetie.
I just want to say you are awesome.
I know.
Could you give a story behind the scenes with you and Matt, just something fun that happened?
I think probably. I mean, you may have heard this before because it tends to be the one that I use. One of the interesting things about filming Doctor Who, say, versus ER, is that obviously ER had a lot more money per episode, but with that you had a lot more time in which to film, and so there was a lot of opportunity for pranks and things like that to happen during filming. And with Doctor Who, there was always that really it's serious. There's sort of the clock ticking behind you all the time. So unless something naturally went wrong, you didn't ever dare pull a prank or a joke or anything like that, just because you were so conscious of wasting time. And time with the BBC is money. So so we were always pretty good, and also time was always spent on making sure everything was working technically, you know, whether it was the Weeping Angels or the Daleks or whoever it was, they kind of took precedence over everything else. But the one, I suppose, event that happened that I won't forget was my very first introduction to Matt, when River is flying through the universe, and the Doctor is in the TARDIS, and he opens the TARDIS door and River flies in. And we did that, and it was fabulous because I was on a wire and I was literally being flown through the studio. It was great. and then they cut, so they edit it, and then you have me sort of standing on the ground pretending that I've just flown in. So he opened the door and I had to sort of throw myself in through the doors as if I was still flying, even though I wasn't on the wire anymore. And so I did that, and I kneed Matt in the bollocks and landed on top of him, and I just started laughing, and I thought he was laughing, but actually he wasn't. It was more going towards crying. So yeah, I'd tell you that story.
Hi, so my question is, what was your funniest and favorite moment while filming Doctor Who?
Well, I think I just told you the funniest. My favourite moment filming Doctor Who, I don't really have a favourite moment because Stephen Moffat doesn't let any other writers write for my character. Now we know that he's leaving, this is his final season, so whether he'll let that go and let the other writers write for River, which means I would then continue on the show now and again, that we have to wait and see. But Stephen was very protective of the character, which was great for me because it meant that I was always in a Stephen Moffat episode, and his episodes were always so brilliant. So in a way, I can't say that one of them is my favourite, or that I have a favourite scene, because it would then kind of deny the others. And I think they were all equally good and brilliant. I mean, we had some incredible locations. I Which one was it? It was the Pandorica Opens. We were filming at Stonehenge, which is this ancient. They actually still don't really know what it was used for, burial site, whatever, these huge boulders that are really ancient. And it's all cordoned off. The public aren't allowed to go near these stones, but we were, and we were filming, we were doing a night shoot. So we started filming, I guess we started about 6 in the evening, and then we went through till about 8 in the morning. And it was absolutely freezing. In fact, it was snowing slightly. But we were able to work in amongst these ancient stones. And one of the docents who, the docents are the people who take care of this monument, I had some downtime, and they took me to one of these stones, and they showed me some ancient graffiti that a Greek warrior had etched onto one of the stones. And you can only see it if you're really up close. So of course the public don't see it, they don't even know it's there. But it was the graffiti of this Greek warrior's dagger. And it was such an honour for me to be shown this. And then they took me to another piece of graffiti which had been written by Samuel Pepys, who was this English diarist. And he literally had graffitied, he had scratched his name into one of these stones. So, naughty, naughty Samuel Pepys. It was sort of, that was very special to me. So, you know, we get those opportunities that the public don't, so we are very lucky in that respect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, we all know there's some pretty terrifying monsters, enemies in Doctor Who. We all have that one that for us is blood-chilling and terrifying. I was wondering if you personally have one of those where if you did come across that particular monster enemy, which one would be the scariest for you personally?
There is one. Oh, I've forgotten. I think it. No. It's really terrifying, I think. To answer your question. I have to say, just going on from that question, I think Stephen Moffat is kind of brilliant because the aliens or the monsters that he creates they all in some way deal with our human psychosis, and it's so smart. So it's not, I mean, of course, you know, you have the Daleks and things like that, but what Stephen has done with the monsters that he has created and introduced, it's all about the brain and the mind. And I remember as a child walking through graveyards and looking at the stone gargoyles and figures and things, and literally thinking, did they just move? Did they turn? Did they look at me? And sort of playing with that fantasy of what if they come to life when the cemetery gates are closed at night. And so, you know, and I think that's probably a universal fantasy that goes through a lot of children's minds. And so he's tapped into that, and he's taken it and done something incredible with it. And also, I mean, my goodness, the silence. They couldn't be here. They couldn't be around us. It's just, we forget. It's such a brilliantly, it's a genius idea. So, yeah, he's very clever like that. Next question.
Hi. I just wanted to say, which doctor was the most annoying to work with?
The most annoying to work with? Matt Smith! really annoying. Especially when he came to work with a hangover. Hello. Yeah, you're not a fan, are you?
But since River is the doctor's wife, what would happen if she somehow ran into Rose?
Well, I'm running to Rose upstairs or downstairs, which is right next door to me. And actually, we get on pretty well, thank you very much. Shared a couple of drinks in the bar last night. Got a little bit trashed. I think one of the reasons why Doctor Who is so enduring, it's the longest sci-fi show in the world, is it's really awesome. Is that ultimately it's about love. It's the Doctor's love for the human race. He doesn't quite understand why, but he feels that this planet is a planet that he is attached to emotionally and wants to try and save. And it's also about his feelings of love for all sorts of people, for his companions, past, present, future, that he's trying to deal with and sort of grow to understand what that really means, what love means, because he's sort of like a child in terms of his incarnations. He's I think at the moment it's almost like he's in the teenage years. And it's love and loss ultimately, always. And I think that's why the episodes can be so powerful. Matt and even Stephen have said technically River didn't marry the Doctor because she married a Tesselector. Yeah, you've got to go back and watch that episode again now, don't you? But there is great love, whether he did or not, technically, there is a sort of a great kind of, well, it's not even unrequited, I don't think. The TARDIS has got lots of rooms that you've never seen. But there is definitely love and connection between River and the Doctor, and of course, yes, Rose and the Doctor. I mean, he loved her, didn't know how to really express it, and she loved him. I mean, it's great. I mean, that's why the River and Rose, sort of more than any of the other characters, female characters that he's encountered, why they are actually the two who are most connected, because of that. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. She likes a margarita. Hello.
What do you hope to happen to River's song in the future, if you already know?
Did you say, what's the second part of the question? What do I hope happens to her in the
I'd like
future?
to already know, what do you hope for River's song to happen in the future?
Well, I hope she doesn't die in the future. To be perfectly honest, but she already has. So really, we can only say, what do you hope happens to River in the past? It's very wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, isn't it? I hope that she's a time-traveling archaeologist. I think it would be great to see her sort of see what she does when she's not with the Doctor. Like what she does with Captain Jack. She comes back and has adventures with him, but then she goes off again. And so it would be quite fun, I think, to see what she gets up to by herself. Because she doesn't always need to have a man. Hello.
So my question is, the first time we ever see River Song, we're right there with the doctor. We have no idea who she is. But you know as the character that you have a history with this doctor. I want to know if as an actor, if you had any idea your history with the doctor when you first went in.
When I first went in, no, I didn't. But when I arrived in Cardiff, my diary was absolutely full of drawings, little notes. I mean, it was a real work of art that the props department had created, and so it gave me sort of just a sense of the potential of this character and what they had done together, and all of the stories that we have ticked off, like Pandorica, Derillium, they were all in that diary on the first day of work for me. And there are some others that we haven't encountered yet, so who knows? Jim the Fish. So it gave me a sense of what I could play with or run with in terms of sort of making the character three-dimensional. But other than that, no, I was given no indication by Stephen or anybody as to how to play her or what she'd done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, my friend wanted me to tell you that she loves you and she wishes she could be here to see you.
Well, will you say hello back?
I will say hello. Okay, and if River Song had her own show, who would you want to be featured on it as her companion?
I quite like Captain Jack Sparrow. I think that'd be quite fun, actually. We'd like the two Captain Jacks, you and River in the middle. That'd be kind of fun. That's a lot of costumes. Thank you.
Hi. In acting with the first season that you were in with Matt and Karen and Arthur, did they tell you who you were? Because I know we're all out here, we have no idea who you were until Demon's Run. But did they tell you so that you knew to act a certain way?
You mean that I was Rory and Amy's daughter?
Yeah.
Stephen told me, I think he told me it was the end of the season before. So he told me a good year, I think, nearly about a year before it was revealed. And it was, I just thought, oh my God, that's so great. But in fact, he didn't want, he told me, but I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. So it was a really big spoiler. And they all started to figure out that I had a secret. So there were a lot of bribes being thrown out there, and I didn't accept any of them. And it was great, because it gave me such power. One of the reasons why Stephen didn't want them to know is he didn't want them to change their performances. So, and when we were filming in Utah at the Lake Silencio, and we see the astronaut come out of the water and kill the doctor, and we're all sitting there having a picnic, and drinking our wine innocently, having this picnic and everything. I knew that was me. I had to act like, oh my God! And in fact, we were going to film the repeat for however many episodes it was later, when it suddenly it was revealed that it was me who was killing him. We were supposed to shoot that sequence in Utah at the lake, but unfortunately, where our location had got out, and somebody had snuck, I think it actually was one of the crew, had filmed a little bit of footage, and they shouldn't have legally, and they posted it. And so the production, quite rightly, were furious, and they then felt that it was too much of a risk to shoot this little segment with me actually in the suit, killing the doctor or trying to stop killing the doctor. So we actually couldn't do that bit. We had to film it when we were back in Cardiff against a green screen to really keep that storyline as safe and secret as possible. But yeah, no, they didn't know. They had no idea at all.
Thank you.
We're down to like the last 2 questions.
Oh,
Unless you want to go like.
I'm so sorry because I talked for so long. I'm really sorry. It's you over here, isn't it? Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
I'll be very proud. Just do yes, no, yes, no.
Thank you for sharing the tea during the photo shoot yesterday. You shared some of the difference between filming BBC and ER. Is that mainly funding, or is there the differences between British filming and American TV?
I think the greatest difference between British filming and American filming is the craft service. In America, oh my God, when I first started working on ER, and there was this like buffet all day long of food, and I just thought that was our food. That was our sort of breakfast, lunch, and supper, because we would work 16-hour days. But that wasn't, that was just snacks. And then you had lunch and dinner and breakfast on top of that, and I couldn't believe, and it still goes on, I couldn't believe the amount of food that we get here. Whereas in England, you're lucky if you get like a curled up sandwich or a dry biscuit with your tea. I mean, it's really pathetic. But that's the main difference. But of course it is, it's budget. We just, in England, they just don't have the same sort of budgets that they do in the States. But in terms of actual crew and everybody works equally hard wherever. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So my question was, in the first episode that you appeared in, you whispered in the doctor's ear so that way he would know to trust you. Did you actually whisper something to him, or was you just...
I most certainly did. I whispered his name. When you film a scene or a moment, and you're watching it on the TV, you know, you'll see a close up, and then it might cut to what's called a mid shot, so it's sort of to up about here, and then it might cut to another angle where you see the characters sort of in full length. So we have to shoot the same scene over and over again, not only so that we're getting the scene right in terms of the feel, but also so that you have all these different camera angles which make the final edit look much more interesting. So I had plenty of opportunity to whisper lots of things. And I certainly told him his name, which is why in the final edit he looked so shocked. But I won't tell you what his real name is.
Name it.
No, come on, spoilers. But I will tell you one of the names that I did whisper in his ear. Shaniqua. You liked that one. Yeah. So that's kind actually Shaniqua. It's good with David. It suits him, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's sneak one more in.
How does it feel working with Matt Smith?
How does it feel working with Matt Smith? It feels a bit soft and squidgy. Not terribly muscular. It's thin, a bit ropey, soft and squidgy. But he is lovely. Does that answer your question?
My question was, you have a lot of fans in different communities. What is the most memorable experience you've had with various fans?
Various fandoms?
Yeah.
Oh my God, come on, being at conventions, excuse me. I mean, the Doctor Who fans are nothing else in the world. You guys are so loyal, so dedicated, so generous and enthusiastic. You know, when we travel to all these different conventions, they're long days, you know, and we're meeting so many people, but your enthusiasm and energy just keeps us absolutely buoyant, and you know, we, as much as you get something from us, we get something from you, which is this incredible love towards us. So yeah, you are, and you're also effing, talking in the hall, you're crazy! Who doesn't like getting crazy?
Well, in that case, I think I speak for all of us, and all of your fans, when I say thank you for your kind words.